Christina Universe Citizen presents New Era Religion, Episode 94, Part 2, August 2nd, 2022. The ignorance that cultivates the inherited detriments. Continued from Part 1. Self-education occurs in the process of gathering relevant information as thought begins. So the classrooms of educating facilities, the institutions that provide a learning environment for teaching many subjects of interest and essential information, must never yield to the PRJWBCS. PRJWBCS promise rewards and or punishments for currying favor or rejecting that power to control freedom. Such persuasion is an undercurrent of admonishments that command compliance with preferred lessons from those hidden agendas and the rationalized strategies. We have centuries of documented accounts filling library shelves with facts and figures of such potential misdirection. As recently, from the 1940s, at the outset and after World War II, tetrahedral potential awareness was making itself more clearly known as our Buckminster Fuller's geometry and discovery of nature's coordinate system became the 20th century's more clarifying self-other validating conceptioning. But the deeply ingrained and longer established PRJWBCS systemic thoughts, absences of forethought of the polyhedron, a tetrahedron, can be compared now to David and Goliath. David, a young lad, slew the giant Goliath, a champion of the Philistines, using a slingshot. This story analogically refers to the relatively powerless overcoming the powerful, the little guy subduing the bully. See worldhistories.org, link provided at the end of the video podcast. Missed, however, in these various accounts is the slingshot itself as a type of conceptual device. When we think of a triangle and a vertex, it now seems to be reiterating itself in the generalized content as the conceptuality of the tetrahedron correlating to the minimum thinkable set. We can rely on the tetrahedron for clarifying the overpowering PRJWBCS's hidden agendas as redundant implications during self-doubting. It is perpetrated by self-other confusing sands of time in layers of self-deception, enhanced thus by self-other deluding authoritative content. If it is not generalized content correlating to any conceptual thought's systemic nature, which is structured tetrahedrally, chances are the propagation of its language omitted angles and vertexes, and consciousness of the tetrahedron 720 degrees as a basic unit of measure coinciding with conceptualities of the 6 positive and 6 negative degrees of freedom. Furthermore, if not for a geometer's mensural unity, awareness of the basic unit of measure which synergetically is the conceptuality of the tetrahedron, our 21st century self-educating responsibility for clarifying the lag rates between apprehension and comprehension would not have been made known. It is where the degrees of freedom come into the metaphysical generalized conceptioning field of thought, induced thus by the generalized content of disseminated information. Granted, awareness of the generalized content, as we are in the process of composing written thought, seems almost too simplified to be readily accepted, but nevertheless must be considered during critical thinking. Similarly to the story of David and Goliath, but now we can conceptualize the slingshot itself as a tool that resembles in part the topology of a tetrahedron's one triangular face or opening and one vertex. Imaginably, the vertex is plunge passage through the opposite window, a triangular opening involving the forces of nature. Yet, we rarely think such forces are relevant to push, pull during the non-simultaneously occurring eventful experiences. But 21st century humanities' analogies of universes' conceptual systems need not succeed just because of the other's downfall attests to self-defeating it as the most feared entity. Rather, it can be, as our self-educating consciousness evolution recognizes integration and reintegration of timeless zero-phase unity as an essential conceptuality of restoring this cosmically logical order. Henceforth, we can be more accurately self-assured to know that definition requires a conceptuality, that nature is conceptual, and that, in quotes, conceptuality requires the generalization of patterns, end quote. The pattern is gleaned by the observer's captured interest in the special case physical events, momentarily experienced influence to define the basic event that experientially constitutes structure. As the first subdivision of universe, a conceptuality of the tetrahedron's topological energy eventing is metaphysical, generalized conceptioning of the action, reaction, resulting, positive and negative, minimum structural system. Undifferentiated patterns gleaned from the physical environment are merely abstract images that tend to cause more confusion. Wherever the differentiations are not clarified is when the controllers of false impressions, false premises, false promises impose the detrimental power to dominate self-others' thought language throughout the environment's communication domains. Let us recall that dominion conceptually generalizes to domain, and that we are encouraged by synergetics to explore omnitopological domains, Synergetics 106.20, as well as prime domains, Synergetics 1011.11, and VE, involvement domain. The list of those sections is included. Thank you for your individual focus, if that happens to be the case, and your continued interest and curiosity in Planet U and this important research project, subjective to objective, experiential, experimental, anticipatory design science intention to manifest a true democracy while exploring the prospects for designing Planet U as an evolution process of a predominantly metaphysical objective. Relevant links are provided at the end of the video podcasts. It is a contributing effort to the universal communications and continuity of conscious life relative to my extrapolating those resources into these developing and ongoing essays. Every time I read or say continuity of conscious life, it reminds me of R. Buckminster Fuller's essay, Total Thinking, where he said, the continuity of conscious life becomes personality as the product of complex, periodic interactions known as cycles or periodic recurrences of a higher frequency order, end quote. And it seems to be the case today, in year 2022, for individuals and the personality of a nation.